Hello, and welcome to Pisces Moon Astrology. I'm your astrologer, Kate Leonard, and I'm excited to explore the stars with you. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the week of May 24th through May 30th, and it is another busy week in the cosmos. So settle in and let's talk about all the stuff going on as we get ready for the blue moon that happens the Sunday after, right? So the day after this week, technically, we've got the blue moon. So I'm going to produce a second episode this week so that we can talk about the blue moon and do all the stuff to get ready so that we really embrace its energy as best we can, right? I'm really excited about it. But this week, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm going to be talking about the sun in Gemini squaring the North Node of Destiny on May 25th, and then on May 26th, the sun in Gemini trining Pluto in Aquarius. It's good. I like it. Now, I'm going to do the disclaimer that I've had to do kind of all year. First, there's a lot of stuff going on, and it's not all great. For example, on May 25th, same day the sun is squaring the North Node of Destiny, Mars is squaring Pluto. Yeah, that's not great. That is not great. That is power struggles, arguments, all kind of not great. Okay. So the reason I say this is because I'm going to focus on two pretty positive things that are going on this week. And I guarantee I will have some people contacting me telling me that their life sucked this week, right? And I get it. And I'm sorry. And that Mars Pluto, yeah, we're going to have some stuff. And then there are just some yearly kinds of things that are still in progress that are challenging. This is not an easy year, you guys. I wish I could say it were. So what I'm kind of trying to do when we do have some really, really good transits, I'm trying to really bring those out for you so that you can seize those positive energies. So I understand that it's not going to all be roses and unicorns all week or all year, but there are some good things, and that's what I want to stress. The other thing that I want you to keep in mind is that these planets are speaking to each of our natal charts. So while an aspect may be really good for someone, some of us may not experience it as positively. It could be because we have a harsh energy in that vicinity. So, for example, I'm going to be looking at the sun in Gemini, and it's possible that you've got, a debilitated Mars or something like that in your Gemini. You're going to experience this differently, and possibly there will be some challenges around it, even though someone who didn't have that Mars wouldn't be feeling those challenges. However, a positive aspect is still a good thing. It's just that it might not be as shiny for some of us as for others. So I hope that makes sense. And before I get into all the specifics, I want to say thank you so much for being here. Oh my gosh, I hit something like 5,000 downloads or something like that last week. And it was just, wow. I mean, that may not sound like a lot to, big channels, big shows, but for me, that was crazy. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I also wanted to remind you, we are now on episode 97. 100 is coming up really soon, right? Especially since I'm going to put out 2 this week. I am still running the special. All you have to do to claim it, it's 10% off any of my services, which you can find on my website, PiscesMoonAstrology.com. What you have to do to get it, share the podcast on your social media, take a screenshot or whatever you need to do of that, and go to my website, go to contact. That's going to open up an email to me. Put that screenshot in the body of the email and tell me what service you'd like to book that you want your 10% off. And that's all of my services. I never offer discounts on some of my higher price services. So this is a really good time to jump in. Anyway, with all of that said, thank you. Oh, and I am going to do the sign by sign. So I need to get into this, don't I? All right. So as I said, on May 25th, we've got the sun in Gemini squaring the north node of destiny in Pisces. What that is shining the light on destiny. So this is a day, a square is a challenging angle, right? There's friction. You're going to have to maneuver it a little bit. But as I always remind you, ancient astrologers would rather have any aspect than no aspect. No aspect means there's no energy, no charge there. So even a square is better than nothing. And when we're talking destiny and the sun, we're really talking about like fated interactions, fated downloads, fated meetings, those kinds of things. And it can just be, inspired ideas that seem to come out of nowhere that really help put us on our path, the path that we're meant to be walking in this lifetime, in a way that we shine brightly. Okay, I love it. I love it a lot. I will get into it a little bit more with the sign by sign. And then the next day, on the 26th, we've got the sun in Gemini, trining. That's the most positive aspect in astrology. Pluto in Aquarius. So, y'all, Pluto can be, like not nice. He's the god of the underworld, but he also has a lot to do with deep transformation, and he has to do with transforming so that we can stand in our power. He's all about the power. And with the sun shining there, we are going to see how we need to grow, how we need to change, what we need to embrace in ourselves or heal even in ourselves so that we can really step into our power and shine. This is a really positive time. So get ready for this energy and put on your courage so that you can embrace this and go, yeah, I'm ready. You know what, y'all? You cannot, what do I want to say here? People ask me this all the time, right? Like, is this fated? Is this going to happen even if I don't want it to? Mostly, no. We have free will. We could say like, I refuse to stand in my power. You certainly can. You can refuse to do that. Now, when the North Node of Destiny is involved, not so much. That's pretty much fate, right? But this Sun Pluto thing, could you just say, no, I want to be wimpy? Yeah, you can. I suppose you can. But I'm just saying, how about don't do that? All right, let me get into the sign by sign. So, Aries. Gemini is your third house of communication and community. That's where the sun is shining. So expect to see growth, change, and movement there. The North Node is in your 12th house. So this may be fated meetings with people that come out of the shadows, right? Or people that come from your past even. But expect to have breakthroughs in how you communicate or how you're involved in your community. It's really good. Writers, this is huge for you because the third house rules writing. Pluto for Aries is in the 11th house. So this is all about standing in power in your group identity, in your groups, with your tribe. This is all about taking on a leadership position. Now remember, the sun's in your house of community. So community involvement, hey, go run for office, all of that kind of stuff. But it could be start a group, join a community group, but be ready to step into a leadership position. Taurus, this is weird for you. Not weird. Why do I say that? Yeah, okay, it's a little weird. The sun is shining in your second house of money, So expect ideas, growth, change in your finances. And this is your own money, not like your partner's money or investment money. This is your money. The North Node is in your 11th house. That's your tribe, group identity. It's also our hopes. So you may find that there's a business partner there or somebody that you're in a group with in some way helps to inspire you. Like they'll say something that's just really faded that helps you understand like how to increase your wealth or something like that. Now, interestingly, Pluto is in the 10th house of career. So you might have a friend go, you know what, dude, you need to step into your power at work because you're not making what you're worth, right? Pluto, power, is in your 10th house of work. So you may be inspired to maybe initiate some kind of new contract or something like that. I actually love it a lot, but expect it to have to do with your finances. Gemini, the sun is shining on you, right? So this is all about personal growth. The North Node is in your 10th house of career. This really could be like you just getting inspired to shine brighter in your professional life. If you don't work, that would be your public life where you're seen out in the world. And remember, work doesn't always mean paid work. That could be volunteer work and all of that. And then Pluto is in your 9th house. That's foreign travel and cultures, higher education, publishing. So this could be like deciding that you want to teach a course, you want to launch a webinar, you want to stand in your power in that 9th house area. That's also spirituality. You may want to start a meditation group, a witchy group, a prayer group, whatever it is. I love this for you a lot, but this is personal growth and standing in your own power and your own light. All right, Cancer. Gemini, where the sun is shining, is your 12th house. So this is behind the scenes. It's interesting when the sun shines there because it's the sort of invisible house, right? So this is about energy behind the scenes. The North Node is in the 9th house of spirituality, higher education, foreign culture, and travel, right? So this is really what I see for you. This is really about spiritual growth. You may decide to go on a meditation retreat or go spend some time at the ashram, do a yoga teacher training or something like that. But this is all about aligning with your destiny through spiritual growth. And remember, the 12th house rules things like alone time. So retreats, silent meditation retreats, all of that. I love this. Pluto is in your 8th house of joint finances, but also it's very occult. So any of you witchy types out there, this is time for you to stand in your power, start a coven, do whatever that is. But it could also be standing in your power as far as financial investment, bringing on the right business partners, those kinds of things. And because Pluto is deep transformation, you may be going through an amazing healing process. 8th house rules trauma and fear. All right. Really big stuff for you. Leo, the sun is your ruler. So this is super important for you. The sun is shining in the 11th house of your group identity. So expect to glow, expect to be the star in some groups you're in, right? This is really time for you to shine with your friends, with the people that you affiliate yourself. The North Node is in that 8th house of joint finances, like investments and those kinds of things. But again, as I just said, for Cancer, it's the witchy space, it's the healing trauma space. So expect to, I don't know, maybe finding some business partners or investment partners in your group, starting some kind of investment club kind of thing. But you're another one that I could see, getting together with your coven and making all kinds of fated things happen, right? Also, a real time of healing, and you will probably do that in partnership with your friends. Like you will go to your tribe to do this kind of healing. And then Pluto is in your seventh house of one-on-one primary relationships. So this is stepping into your power in relationships. This could be a primary business partner, but it's very likely to be a love partner. And this is interesting because it's about the relationship transforming and becoming empowered. So it's really kind of beautiful. This could be a time that a lover comes from your friend group, just saying. All right, Virgo. Gemini is your 10th house of career. Where do you shine? Out there in the world, right? Especially in your career. And the North Node is in the 7th house of one-on-one partnerships. So you may be finding that you're bringing in a business partner or you're renegotiating some kind of relationship with your business partner, but it will be very fated. The other thing that could happen is you may get fated wisdom from your love partner, your spouse, your partner, whatever it is, your primary partner. They may say something and you're just like, oh my gosh, you just blew my mind. And now I know what I want to do in my career or how I want to grow in my career. Pluto is in your 6th house of day-to-day work. So this is really about transforming and standing in your power in how you do your work. It's also your house of health, so physical health. So deep healing is possible at this time. All right, Libra. Gemini is your 9th house of spirituality, foreign culture and travel, higher education, publication, all of that kind of stuff. With this week having to do with destiny, I am really seeing you growing spiritually, shining spiritually. But it can be other things like I said, publication, all of that kind of stuff. So if you've been wanting to be a star, on YouTube, launch your channel, all of that kind of stuff, Libra. And I'm thinking of one client of mine specifically who I just had a session with about launching some social media stuff. So if you're listening, you know who you are. The North Node is in your 6th house of day-to-day work. So getting really inspired about how you have to set up that home recording studio or the place where you write if it's publication, but also setting up your environment so that it supports your spiritual practice. Pluto is in the 5th house of creativity and children, leisure time, and fun. So transforming your relationship with children, but I think more likely based on the other placement, this is going to have to do with bringing creativity into your spiritual world. When was the last time you did ecstatic dancing? You know what I mean? That kind of thing. Scorpio, the sun is shining in your 8th house of joint finances. So this is really shining the light on investment opportunities, possibly business partner kinds of things, all of that, but also shining the light on your woundedness, trauma, fear. The North Node is in the 5th house of creativity and leisure and children. I really see this as inspiration. This could be for some of you inspiration coming from, and this will be fated. When I say inspiration, I mean divine inspiration coming from the children in your life. But I think for most people, this is going to have a lot to do with downloads about your creative energy and how that can heal you and possibly even add to your finances. So look at that money, creativity, growth connection. There's something divinely inspired there. Pluto is in your 4th house of home and family. So again, this could be about your children for those of you who are around children. But the other thing this means is getting really standing in your power so that you become your own firm foundation that you need. Fourth house is not just our literal like house, it is also our foundation, our base. And this is you becoming your own base in some ways. Sagittarius, the sun is shining in your relationship house. So this week is going to be a whole lot about shining the light and just finding the joy and sparkle in your relationship. The North Node of Destiny is in your fourth house of home and family. So really just getting some faded information, insights, probably with your partner where the sun is shining, about home renovations, buying a home, moving, changing around the home, getting a roommate, tossing out a roommate. You get the idea, but it'll be divine and it will help get you on your path, especially as a member of a partnership, if that makes sense. Okay, I know I said that kind of the hard way, but you get it. Pluto is in your third house of communication. So this is interesting because remember that the sun north node thing is a square. You might have to grapple with it a little bit. The very next day, the sun is shining on you standing in your power and going through personal transformation in the area of communication. So this might be something like you feeling suddenly empowered to express to your partner how you do want to move or something like that. These things come one day, then the next. I think you may be communicating with your partner from a better place of power. I kind of love it a lot. I love how yours all comes together so perfectly. All right, Capricorn, you have the sun shining in your sixth house, and I think primarily this is going to be physical health. This could be how you structure your day-to-day work environment, okay? So it may be getting divine inspiration and getting the gifts of the sunlight to show you how you need to restructure your work environment. But I think for a lot of you, this is going to be about health. The North Node is in your third house of communication. So reading about health, reaching out to people and asking, what's your diet like? I'm going through this thing. With the sun in the sixth house, you could be dealing with inflammatory issues. And so you may be talking to other people about that or researching, because that third house is all about research. You could be researching, how to deal with some kind of physical thing you've got going on, and you will be divinely guided to how to get to your optimum health. I actually really like it a lot. I really like it a lot. You could also be joining community groups that are involved with health, exercise groups, things like that. Pluto is in your second house of money, so it's stepping into your power where money issues are concerned. The light is shining on that from your house of day-to-day work. So how do you need to restructure how you do your work, where you do your work, that kind of thing, so that you can just really make a whole lot more money? Yeah, that's what you're about. All right. Aquarius, the sun is shining in your house, in your fifth house of creativity, children, leisure time, fun, all of that. So enjoy that. That's just a beautiful house to have the sun shining in, right? The North Node is in your second house of money, finance. And so you may be getting real wisdom, downloads, whatever, about how to creatively grow your money, grow your savings, all of that. This is going to be deep, though. Remember, when we're talking about the nodes, I don't care where it's hitting you. This is not flimsy. This is real divine inspiration. Pluto is in your first house. Where are you going to stand in your power? You are going to stand in your power. The light is going to shine on you. How's that going to happen? Look at how you can bring a creative spirit into your life in every kind of way, because you're going through a deep personal transformation so you can stand in your power. Oh my gosh, right? Pisces. All right. The sun is shining in home and family. And what could be more beautiful than that? The North Node is in your first house. So this is really something like you bring the divinity, you bring the insights, you say the inspired thing that helps the whole family shine brighter. Now, remember that square. If at first it sounds like people aren't listening to you, there's a little bit of friction, like, nah, you're stupid, that's not right, or whatever. If you get some resistance, you know how families are. Anywho, if you get some resistance, don't worry about it. You will navigate that. That inspiration that you feel like you downloaded, it's real, you share it, it'll work. Pluto is in your 12th house. So really honoring your deepest self, really going deep inside yourself and looking at, because the light is shining, the sun is shining, looking at how you want to bring forth a more empowered you. And what do you have to do behind the scenes to facilitate the birth of this new super you? Super good. I kind of love these things. Now, again, you guys, I told you there's some not great things going on this week as well. But I think there's some really good energy to grab onto here. We're all going to get some downloads. We're all going to grow. And yeah, I love it a lot. So remember, I'm going to come back with a blue moon episode because it happens on Sunday, not the Sunday. I release the podcast on Thursday. I'm not talking about that first Sunday. I'm talking about the next Sunday. But I will come back with the blue moon episode. I really hope this was helpful. I'm grateful to all of you. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing. If you haven't left a comment on the podcast in a while, I'd be grateful if you would. And yeah, until the next episode, go out and seize the energies of the stars. This is my wish for you always, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.